Anyway, before we get started tonight, I wanted to talk about DVDs, Blu-rays. Some of you weird beard viewers of this show even still keep your old VHS cassettes. What is that about, people? I mean, I kind of understand people who love vinyl. There's a certain quality to the music that you get from that. There's no way to argue that the picture quality on a VHS tape is better than, well, better than just about any image in any other medium at any time in history. But anyway, my point is, I know a lot of you love physical media, and you even go out and buy the movies that we show on Shudder, even though you don't have to. They're available for streaming. And even though streaming has been very, very good to me, it scares me that physical media is disappearing. And I'll tell you why. Just recently, I did a 148-minute commentary track for the movie I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu, which is the 40 years later sequel to the notorious rape revenge movie from the 70s. And one of the main reasons I was asked by director Mayer Zarki to do it was so that the upcoming Blu-ray release could beat back the haters, because critics don't like Mayer Zarki. They didn't like him in 1979, they don't like him now. Distributors don't like Mayer Zarki. They wouldn't give him a deal in 1979, and they won't give him a deal now. A major studio backed out of an agreement last year citing, quote, the cultural environment. Feminists don't like Mayer Zarki. They called him a misogynist when I Spit on Your Grave first came out, and the film has been the subject of impassioned debate in women's studies classes and film departments ever since then. Fortunately, there was an exploitation marketer named Jerry Gross who took Mayer's original film, which was called Day of the Woman, retitled it, platformed it through a system of sub-distributors, and fought the various protesters in every city, including Chicago, where Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert stood out in front of theaters and told people not to go in. That was followed by a video release that allowed people all over the world to see the movie that was often banned in the very city where they watched the movie. So one of the most liberating developments in the history of free expression was the invention of VHS. Well, today all those sub-distributors are gone. Today VHS is a hipster hobby at best. Piece of metal crap in your garage, probably. The chances of I Spit on Your Grave, Deja Vu getting into a mainstream movie theater in 2020 are somewhere between 0 and impossible. Fortunately, there's a device called the Blu-ray player that allows anybody in the world to order a physical copy online and watch it the next day. The Blu-ray player, in other words, is the Jerry Gross of our day. It's our defense against a world of judgmental overlords who would very happily make Mayer Zarki's film disappear. And pretty soon now, we won't have that protection anymore. Samsung announced that they will no longer manufacture 1080p or 4K Blu-ray players. These are state-of-the-art devices, the absolute best digital image quality ever achieved, but they showed up too late. As we know from the early days of video players, people don't care about image quality. If people cared about image quality, Technicolor and Eastman Kodak would still be in business, because film images have been getting progressively worse since the late 1930s. People care about convenience and price. So we're not quite at the end of physical media, because Sony and Panasonic will probably show record sales this year because their biggest competitors just left the field. But it's the first signal that pretty much everything is going to be moving to the cloud, right? The problem with the cloud is that someday the cloud is going to explode into a fine digital mist, and trillions of cultural artifacts are going to be lost. I don't know how that's going to happen, whether it's going to be cyber terrorism or actual war or simple mismanagement, but a whole bunch of stuff is going to get burned up, and everybody's going to be asking, oh, who do I sue? You know, of course, all your physical media could burn up. Your house could burn down, take all your tapes and DVDs with it, but State Farm would replace it, right? I mean, the problem with the cloud blowing up is it takes a billion other people with you. But that's not even the worst result of moving away from physical media. The worst result is that controversial movies and TV shows and music, especially under the radar media like I Spit on Your Grave, that stuff will simply not be there anymore. They will be censored into a digital void, and we won't even notice it's happening. Take it from a person who has dealt with censors his whole life. They're not anything like the stereotype. The stereotype of the censor is Anthony Comstock, head of the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice, upholding Victorian morality. The stereotype is Thomas Bowdler, the English doctor who took all the naughty parts out of Shakespeare. The stereotype is Tipper Gore, dedicating herself to saving the youth of America by getting rid of rap music. I've only encountered one opponent like this, the Reverend Donald Wildman of Tupelo, Mississippi, a family values advocate who devoted himself to ridding the world of pornography in all its forms, including high school sex comedies and horror films. Now, the Reverend, he was fun to debate with because his position was so pure. He really did think movies could turn ordinary people into rapists and killers. But these aren't real censors. These are crusaders. They eventually collapse under the weight of their own self-righteousness. The real censors are the people who say, let's just stay away from that topic. You know, they're the retiring types. They wear gray cardigans and sensible shoes. They're middle managers at Disney. They're creative executives at Fox. They're lawyers at CBS. Their solution to any controversy is cancel the show, pull the film out of distribution, cut off the licensing. You know, Amos and Andy, for example, that's one of the most influential radio and television series ever produced. It's the model for The Honeymooners, Sanford and Son, All in the Family, many other bro series. But it hadn't been widely seen since 1966 because CBS took it out of distribution and refused to license it. Its crime? Racist stereotypes. If you hadn't seen the slasher film Clown House, you probably never will unless you own the really hard to find DVD. Its crime? The director was a convicted child molester. Don't watch the Sign My Dick scene from Victor Crowley on Amazon Prime because they took out the money shot. Its crime? Showing a dick. Notice that these are all crimes of omission. They just make the film or the scene or the entire series unavailable. And these are the people who own the cloud. These are the people who run streaming. Once the DVD players are gone and once the Blu-ray players are gone, all we'll have left is faceless bureaucrats who are periodically cleansing their library of inconvenient titles. And they won't care about right or wrong, justice or injustice, questions like, has enough time passed to start running the Cosby Show again? And the little companies like Something Weird Video, you know, knocking at the doors of the big streaming services, you know, no, sir, I don't think our company needs to be renting Bigfoot Gets Laid at the current time. We're doing just fine with Transformers 12. So it'll be censorship of the minority by the majority. It'll be silent, it'll be legal. You won't even notice it until the day you find out that there's a movie called Cannibal Holocaust, but you can't watch it because all the rights have been purchased by an animal rights group so they can make sure it's never seen again. Vladimir Putin will love it. Xi Jinping will love it. All you have to do is find the corrupting media influence wherever it resides in the cloud, push one button, and voila, it's gone. So much better than when they had those pesky home video devices, right? In those days, we couldn't even be sure of what they were watching. Media is better when it keeps track of the watcher. Media is better when it doesn't just know what to feed you, it knows when to starve you.